Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We have some really cool news to talk about from the Starcraft tabletop miniatures game. A new promo of our first hero and first promo miniature is been revealed. It is also our first Protos. And we're going to take a look at that as well. Zeratul has been spoiled. We're going to look at him. We're going to talk about him and kind of catch you up to speed on Starcraft, the tabletop miniatures game that is very anticipated, coming from Archon soon. Stand by for that, with more information also coming soon. If you guys are new here to the channel, I do talk a lot about tabletop games, Star Wars games, Star Trek games, science fiction games in general, Starcraft games, Warhammer, everything in between. We talk about all of that stuff. Love to have you stick around. We're doing a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. A couple days left to enter to win that. Also, if you're entered to win, that's also going to roll you into the 12 Days of Life Day. We're doing giveaways all throughout the month of December, where we're going to be giving away 12 surprise gifts. So you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or any of my other videos. It's as simple as that. That enters you to win. We'd love to have you guys stick around and let me know what Protoss unit you're excited to see next, or if you're not a Protoss player, what are you excited to see? Because we've seen quite a bit from the StarCraft tabletop miniatures game so far, with even more just around the corner. Speaking of which, last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, the Archon has been teasing a first look at what looked to be a Protoss miniature. It looked like they said something about psionic interference, and I'm like, okay, they're definitely teasing Protoss, because we've seen a little bit of the Terrans, we've seen a little bit of the Zerg. Well, actually, we've seen a whole lot of the Zerg lately, but we hadn't seen anything from Protoss yet. And from we did an interview a while back, and it definitely seemed like the initial kind of starter was going to be Terran versus Zerg, and wasn't going to feature the Protoss right away. But they're definitely coming. Of course, you can't do StarCraft without rock, scissors, and also paper, right? Who's the scissors? And this is not the who's the rock, who's the scissors, who's the paper, right? Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. I don't know. I'm a big fan of the Protoss. I like the Protoss. And this is going to be exciting. So we got to look at Zeratul, and this is labeled as a promo miniature. So what exactly do they mean by that? I'm not sure. We're going to speculate a little bit, but more information is going to be coming October 23rd at 10 o'clock CEST, which is equivalent to 1 p.m. I think Pacific time. So that morning, right, of October 23rd, we will be getting some more information, so we can stand by. I think they're going to do a live stream. I don't know if it's going to be like a Facebook live stream or an Ask Me Anything or something like that. But there'll be more information. I'll talk to you about it as well, because this game looks very exciting. Let's talk about this miniature, for example. First off, it's painted beautifully. They have brought this Dark Templar to life, and he has that beautiful blade. I love the glow, the OSL that they've put on his cloak. It's just a fantastic action pose. Does this mean that a Zeratul promo miniature means that if you don't get the promo, if you just get like whatever the non-promotional, maybe it's a pre-order bonus, maybe it's early adopters, maybe it's a limited time thing, or maybe it's a standalone separate from outside of a starter. I don't know how what the plan is going to be for this and how you would get this promo miniature. But could it be that you might miss out on Zeratul completely if you don't get it? I don't know. Could it be that you can still get Zeratul, but maybe he'll have a different sculpt? Maybe there's gonna be multiple versions of Zeratul. I think that's also that's possible. I think that between the timelines, especially with the Protoss and some of the different things that happen to them throughout the course of the storylines for the games, I think and also if you look at the StarCraft 1 versus the StarCraft 2 aesthetic, there is room to do multiple versions of characters. Maybe not every character. I think Kerrigan could easily get multiple versions, right? I think some characters are maybe easier than others to do multiple versions of. Heck, you could do Jim Raynor in his armor, or in his kind of in his civvies, you know, you've got like multiple versions of him, you know, like that. So I think there's different ways to kind of do certain characters. You know, I think it'd be a cool kind of way to do it. Or you could just do different poses and different sculpts. For example, what we have seen, and we'll retread some of the stuff. I've talked about this this game in a couple of other videos, and I'll put links to those at the end. But a lot of the miniatures that we've seen seem to be on regular kind of flat bases, whereas this is definitely a textured, designed base. If you can see there, he is face planting a little Zergling, right? There is a close-up version of that. They gave us another view of it. Very cool. Very cool. I love the detail here. This is obviously, you know, a kind of a more deluxe miniature. I think that's kind of one of the things that they were doing. They have kind of said that they want to do all the heroes. They want to do them justice. They want this to be this is going to be a skirmish game. This is going to be a game that can kind of glorify those heroes. Although it's not only going to have heroes, because you are definitely going to have units. It's not going to be exactly the same as a full game of Starcraft. You won't necessarily have battle cruisers. You're probably not going to have every single thing that you have in Starcraft. But you are going to have some vehicles. You're going to have some kind of larger stuff. I think they've talked about Ultralisks. I don't know if they've confirmed siege tanks or not. Maybe that's a little too big. Maybe it's not. You know, but I think things like vultures are definitely you know, within the realm of possibility, especially if you're doing Ultralisks, right? I think things like a Dragoon would be really cool, and I want to see how big a Dragoon looks in this game compared to like how big they look on my computer screen, you know, playing Starcraft, because I imagine them to be significantly bigger than, you know, than a regular Zealot or a regular Protos or a regular any kind of infantry, right? They're kind of big, right? I'm pretty sure they're kind of big. So, you know, I can't wait to. I really want to see how, you know, how everything looks. But there's certain things I'm really excited about, which is very cool. So here's the whole image that they shared. By the way, they're doing great jobs with this. I love I love sideways shots, especially when there's background and terrain. They've put a lot of terrain together for this game. There's going to be terrain involved. There's going to be a lot of really cool stuff involved. And again, it's not just Protoss. We've kind of they've been teasing stuff for a while. This is kind of how a lot of the miniatures are going to look. You see, here you have like that flat base. I'm curious if like promo miniatures are the ones that are going to have the sculpted bases, or if all heroes are going to have sculpted bases, and all of like the generic type characters are going to be the ones that have like the flat bases. That may be another way to signify them and make them stand out. It's a little unclear with all of the details. They've been dropping some information though recently, and definitely more is coming October 23rd. You know, we talked about in previous videos that this is kind of what the game will look like if you're not very familiar. This is just an example of a very early prototype they did up at Blizzard HQ. They did this recently. Again, you can see some of the terrain on the table here. You can see some of the miniatures, and it looks like roaches are up there in the top left too. So we've been, you know, seeing a lot of the different miniatures. The Hydralisks look very large compared to the Zerglings, and so that's kind of the proportion that I'm expecting of like Zealots to the Dragoons and things like that. You know, that'll be a really fun one. So again, there's some really cool stuff that is going on with this, and also there are multiple images from their trip out to Blizzard and from some of the play testing and showcasing of the game that we've talked about. And I think some people talked about, was that like a Viking in the background? And it does look like it. In some of the images that they posted, it does look like they may have had some like Vikings in kind of ground like walker mode and stuff like that. And there's gonna be a pretty good amount of stuff in this game. It looks awesome so far, and I can't wait to see more. That's very exciting. If you guys haven't seen this other promotional images that they've been sharing on social media, we did a video talking about this stuff where we zoomed in on a lot of these. Again, I'll link that a little bit later. You can kind of see what some of the painted Zerg forces look like, and you can kind of see the relationship of like Zerglings to Hydralisks, and to give you the sense of scale and what a Zerg swarm coming at you might look like. Again, this is beautiful stuff. This looks like it's going to be a really fun game, and I definitely can't wait to get more information. It looks very cool to me. I'm excited. But I want to know if you're excited. I want to know what you're excited about. Are you going to check out their announcement on the 23rd to get more information? I imagine it's going to talk a little bit about the Protos, or specifically how you can get things like the Zeratul promo miniature. I'm curious. Again, that's going to be October 23rd at 10 o'clock CEST, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So check that out. And we will... Well, I assume that's p.m. I think that's p.m., right? Yeah, I think that's 10 a.m. CEST, 1 p.m. Pacific. I don't think it would be 1 a.m. Pacific time. Whatever, I have to look up. I have to do some translation. 10 CEST. It'll be October 23rd, and you'll probably be able to watch after the fact, so you don't have to necessarily catch it live. But if you watch live, sometimes you can get questions in and things like that. So that's also a cool thing to do. And if you have questions, also, maybe we can answer some of them. We have other StarCraft videos where we've talked a little bit more about the game. We have an interview as well. So definitely check out some of the other content that we've done. That's going to go ahead and wrap things up for this. If you're excited for it, let me know. I'm looking forward to this one, and plan on doing more coverage as it becomes available. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. May the Force be with you again, because I already said that once. And always wash your socks.